Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, we will be going over the pattern. There could be a pretty large storm that forms from all the moisture that is stirring around right now across the US, especially the eastern US. I will definitely be going over the extreme heat wave that is going on across the northwest and into southwestern Canada. Truly just stunning anomalies. And yeah, a little bit of everything. I'll show you the radar, what's to come. And yeah, so if you guys enjoy weather, if you are new, hello, welcome. I talk about the weather. I'm a hobbyist, not a meteorologist. And if you obviously enjoy this channel, check out the video, watch the video, check out the whole channel, and see if you like it. If you do, consider subscribing. Obviously, don't subscribe for no reason. And if you are a returning viewer, liking the video and leaving a comment is awesome. Even if you're not a new viewer or returning viewer, leaving a comment is good. So if you have any comments, concerns, leave them down below and I'll do my best to answer them. Okay, let's start talking about this. So first off, let's take a look at the National Weather Service map and notice what we have going on. So we do have some residual, if you will, flood warnings, flash flood watches. Well, no, these are flash flood watches across New Mexico and Texas and Oklahoma to Missouri. This is from the heavy rain that occurred over the past several days. More rain is on the way for those areas, so there will be probably watches and hydraulic outlooks going back up. Notice across the Northeast, we are dealing with a heat wave. It's definitely not as bad as you know it is across the Northwest, but it's definitely warm. 87, you can see tomorrow, 95 on Tuesday, 95 on Wednesday, so definitely a interesting pattern. Notice that there's 30%, 20%, but it says heavy rain, and that's not necessarily because there will be a lot of it, but if it does fall, it's torrential. These downpours, these thunderstorms have so much moisture with them. It's truly something amazing. Yeah, I was caught off guard when we saw our rain systems that passed over my location. They are so efficient at producing moisture, and that's why there's these flood watches. And look, it extends into the Four Corners area, and that's a good thing. Portions of New Mexico, Arizona, they could be seeing a lot of drought relief. I mean, a lot. Some of it will be obviously a bit too drastic, leading to some flooding, but definitely much needed rain is on its way. But look across the Northwest. We're dealing with the exact opposite of of what they would want. Seattle, 99 degrees. I think I saw somewhere that they hit the record high ever, like the hottest they've ever been. Now, what would be surprised? Look at this, 102 during the afternoon today. I think they're 3 hours behind or 2 hours behind my time zone. So it's 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock there. But yeah, Monday, 109. Tuesday, a bit cooler, right? 93, more tolerable. Still very warm for Seattle. That would be considered very warm. This is just out of the ordinary, to say the least. And notice it's not just across one area. The panhandle of Idaho and into portions of western Oregon and Washington are also dealing with this. And look at this. So let's take a look at just Ritzville. Yeah, here it's even hotter. Notice 105 right now, 106, 109, 112, and it will stay here, the heat, for a bit longer. You could see into Friday, Saturday, Independence Day. Yeah, hot. Definitely not good. That is just, expecting more wildfires, to say the least. Yeah, you can see red flag warning with such heat. There's no way that there won't be any, wildfires. Whether or not they will be, that big of a problem, it's hard to tell. It depends on how the rest of the season folds out. If July, turns out to be wet and cool, well, then it looks, that threat could be minimized, but it doesn't look like if it will be a wet July. It looks like if it will be warmer still. Maybe not as warm as it's now, but still warm. Across the Southwest, similar story. Maybe not as hot, but if you're to look at, let's see, right there, Avenal, San Joaquin Valley. And notice 103, 108, 105. So again, similar to what they're seeing across the Northwest, but this is still a bit more appropriate as it's across the Southwest. Still definitely very hot. Let's take a glance now at what the radar is showing. So I'm sure if you lived across the Midwest and really just Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Michigan, you've seen there's been a lot of rain going on the past few days, and it's been just every single day has been like a copy and paste of the prior day. It's been cloudy, rainy, a lot of that stuff going on. Finally, today here across my area, at least, it's a bit sunnier and it's warmer and it's drier. But notice, you see all this moisture? This is where that storm could develop. It's not like a huge storm, but it could be pretty big as it consolidates a lot of this moisture and pushes towards the east, and that allows some of that warm air finally to spill away from the northwest as we head towards the Independence weekend. Notice that as we push this forward, in time. I mean, this is just the past several hours. Notice the general moisture of this. This is kind of flowing up. This is kind of flowing downwards. And yeah, definitely some much needed rain again for the mountains into Wyoming, New Mexico. Some very, very, very heavy rain there. But yeah, notice definitely some heavy rain producers. These may not look like much, but you get under one of these little buggers and it pours. It is, very, very heavy rain. It kind of, this looks, pretty, it looks underwhelming, but again, yeah, the rain is definitely heavy from even these little guys, right? So let's take a look now at some of the weather models. So the GFS. First off, let's take a glance at that heat. Look at the anomalies. That is, again, as I've been repeating for many, many days now, this is the top of the anomaly chart. 28 degrees Celsius above average. That doesn't get hotter than that color right there, that little space. But yeah, definitely one of a decade, if not one of a century type heat wave across Oregon, Seattle. The last time I think this happened was around the 1930s, according to some viewers that told me. Records in Seattle and Oregon, but I think those are all broken. So it does make sense to say at least, a heat wave of half or if not full of a century. Notice the Northeast, again, is pretty hot. That's why they do have some of those heat advisories. But look, I mean, that's still unmatched for what's happening across British Columbia. Look at that. This is now into Tuesday. Very, very cool across New Mexico. There could be even some snow showers on the extremely high elevated areas. So definitely that is pretty interesting. We did see some yesterday across Colorado. Notice Washington, Oregon, Idaho, British Columbia, into Alberta, just very, very hot temperatures. This is now into Thursday, July 1st. This is now into Friday. Notice that the cool air does now stretch into the Northeast. It covers most of the U.S. other than, again, the northwest corner into southern Canada and southwestern Canada. They're still stuck in that massive heat wave. And notice this is now Saturday. This is now Sunday, July 4th. Most of the U.S. rather chilly, but look at that. The northwest, southwest, just absolutely bone dry and extremely warm. Now notice this is where the anomalies start weakening a bit, and this may not look like a heat wave compared to what we've seen. Yes, this is still extremely above average, and this is kind of what the Northeast is seeing, and you can see they have heat watches. So this is definitely still a what would be normally considered a heat wave. Those are still very hot temperatures for the Northwest, but nothing comparable to what is going on in the next few days. Look at those colors. Those are literally, again, approaching the 120s right there, again, towards the top of that limit. And notice that as we push us forward, 117, that little area right there in southwestern Washington, Oregon, could be approaching 120, if not more. During the night, by the way, 80 degrees, so not much cooler. Seattle, though, thankfully could get in on some of that cool weather finally after a while, but definitely just west or just east, the heat continues. And notice that the rest of the United States in some areas very, very chilly, and again, even some frost potentially in extreme elevated areas of Colorado, like the peaks of the mountains, which again isn't too unusual. But notice that we do see this heat move into the plains, and again, this could slide eventually into the central U.S., which is kind of the concern. As notice, those anomalies are still super strong. 108, 110 across the upper plains. That is not good. At least finally the Northwest takes a break. That is still above average, though. Yes, and that looks completely cool compared to what they're seeing now. But if you're to take a look at the anomaly, you could still see that it is in some areas right there above average, and that blue shading is actually mostly overdone because that's during the night there. See, it's above average. You can see that heat wave right there. It moves towards the east and north gradually. Again, this right here is not as big as it was across the west, and this is pretty far out. The model stops going out that far. The previous one does bring in some of that heat towards the east a bit, but keeps it right more towards the northern plains, which isn't good. They're stuck in a drought right now, but in terms of total accumulated precipitation, I didn't show you the radar precip, but this is how much rain the GFS thinks will fall. Look at that. The Southwest picking up decent amounts of rain. That is most definitely good. Unfortunately, the Northwest stays dry, but usually when the Southwest gets in on that monsoon activity, the flow to the Northwest gets cut off, and that's why the moisture is stuck towards the south. Again, look at these. Some of these amounts approaching over 6 inches. The new model run that goes out to only 264 hours shows, again, similar, if not more amounts compared to the prior model run. And again, the eastern United States getting pretty good rain. South Carolina, North Carolina, the Outer Banks into Virginia, a bit drier. You could see half an inch to maybe an inch. At least, it's not dry, but definitely drier for that time of the year. but at least it's not as dry as across the northern plains and Montana and the west, where it could be pretty bad, right? So I was talking about the storm system at the beginning, right? Let's take a glance at that. So notice we have our GFS model pulled up, one of the best models in my opinion, probably not the best though. But notice right there, we start seeing rain across the Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan area where they have seen tons of rain, and that will continue into Iowa, Minnesota, and you can see Tuesday more rain, Wednesday, and look at this, it starts consolidating a bit, right? So we see that moisture across the southwest, the southeast, into portions of, again, southern Canada, and look what happens, right? This is going to be a big contributing factor to the cool temperatures for the July 4th weekend. Look what happens here, right there. Look, we see this low pressure that just pivots. The GFS model puts that low pressure right around the Chicago area, southern Lake Michigan kind of region. But notice that would be a pretty soggy 3rd of July and even 4th of July for quite a few folks across the South, the Midwest. Definitely cool. It would not be a heat wave, so maybe, less than perfect for those July 4th celebrations. You could see 60, 63, 70s towards the south. So, I mean, I guess that's, more of like a early spring day for the south. At least you're not baking in the hundreds, though. So at least that's good. And, you could actually sit outdoors and kind of bear the heat. That's up to the person. Some people like hot temperatures, some people like them less hot. It's beginning to grow more and more likely that this system will be occurring, and again dropping quite a bit of moisture with it, and as it does so, you can see kind of bouts of severe weather, heavy rain across the south, where the areas kind of actually need it, especially towards the southeast. But Louisiana, Mississippi, they had a ton of rain earlier on this month and into late May, so they don't really need that much more, but they'll probably get it from this storm system. And notice that it slugs towards the east very, very slowly, and once it does so, there's just more kind of daytime heated showers. There isn't like an actual forcing, which usually is when we have those torrential downpours. These will still have some heavy rain and some gusty winds and maybe some small hail, but at a less extent. Notice across the southwest and the west, we also see those showers continuously popping up, so that's good news. And towards the very end, the GFS shows this low pressure, which actually has a very, very strong cold front, so we'll have to see what it does with that. But up until the 300-hour timeline, when this model stops, you can see decent rains getting picked up from that storm system and that pattern that also, again, is kind of contributing to that heat across the northwest. But you could see no really precipitation for the northwest from this system. Notice if you're to look at the, I want to take a look at the ensembles, right? So this is many models combined, and you can see that, let's go back to the prior model. They are in agreement that most of them are showing, again, the heaviest rains towards the south and east of the country, and the east, or kind of east of the Rockies. Northern Plains getting a bit dry, but you can see maybe some rain. But the west, especially the northwest, getting very, very little amounts of rain. Look at that, though. This, the four corners into Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, not bad. This is not going to break the drought for Utah or Nevada, but it could for help for a lot of locations, especially New Mexico and extreme eastern Arizona. This is still a pattern that is a bit shaped, but it's kind of shaping up, and it could continue for a while. And if that does, obviously flash flooding will be a danger, but that would help restore a lot of the water levels, at least somewhat, across the country. And notice that the 7-day precipitation anomaly, again, drier up here, definitely wetter towards the south and to the Great Lakes. And yeah, that's definitely that. Usually the northwest isn't soggy as much as it is in spring and the winter and fall. The summer is usually where it's a bit drier still, though that is definitely drier than average. And especially coupled with that heat, that's the big concern. So that's what the GFS shows. If you take a look at the Canadian model, notice it shows in a very long range, 240 hours, some sort of tropical disturbance. Nothing really to worry about at this point. It's a bit too far out. Let's take a look at total accumulated precipitation. Notice, look at that. We start seeing those pockets of very heavy rain again showing up across the Midwest from that storm system. Very little across the Northwest and Upper Plains, but some decent amounts towards the Southwest. And let's just run it through. It's simulated radar animations. Notice that this is the first half of the week, very, very active. Lots of showers towards the south and into the Midwest again, into southern Canada. Then as we push this forward, we see that cold front. You can see the high pressure driving cool air down. That's why the 4th of July may be cool for some folks. Look at that. We see that pretty powerful cold front, according to the Canadian. And that slides to the south and east coast. And if you recall, the GFS parked the low pressure across southern Lake Michigan. This one parks it more across the Pennsylvania, Ohio Valley region, but that would mean more rain for those areas. So yeah, definitely a interesting pattern and a long-lived system, if you will, if you want to call it that. But look at that. The monsoons, the moisture, it continues there. So that's definitely going to be a good news if, they're dealing with the drought conditions. But it could get a bit pretty bad if it does, go on for a very long time and the flooding becomes a problem. They already have flash flood watches issued. Let's take a look at the European model, a very, very good model. It's probably my favorite model. And notice that this is what it shows. You can see those daytime showers, but with that forcing, these clusters stay even throughout the night. So that's the difference between just daytime heating storms that usually all dissipate during the night. These could, go through the evening hours. You can see this is Wednesday, Thursday. We have that cold front from that low pressure that starts to get developed, and that slides to the south and east. Notice precipitation across the southwest is continuous. Lots of moisture here again, so that slides off. But notice that it also parks the low pressure more across Ohio Valley rather than southern Lake Michigan, like the GFS did. And then notice we do see showers and storms, but they're less active and less driven and more focused towards the south. If you're to take a look at the total accumulated precipitation from the European model, you can see definitely decent amounts. And look at that, some of those amounts, well, that's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but definitely 6-7 inches possible across portions of New Mexico and even into Arizona, 2 to 4 inches. In some areas in Utah, maybe a pocket of 1 to 2 inches. So that's definitely good. No drought buster further towards California and Nevada, but definitely helping out for New Mexico. The last bits of drought that were left in Texas. Not good news for the northern plains, so you can see it stays dry there. GFS, you can see on this, let's see, on this website, you can see again, it favors it's very, very similar pattern. Maybe shows a bit more towards the northwest and upper plains, but we'll just have to wait and see. Definitely shows a heavy rain across the southwest. And it's basically, I just want to run through that, show you those weather situation, kind of what's going on. Again, the heat, it will be subsiding over time, but no, not drastically. It'll stay warm, maybe not in the hundreds for many, but probably till the end of this week. Many locations will continue to see very, very hot temperatures. Then that slides into the upper plains, so that's going to be the risk. The northeast also staying rather warm, though it could cool off towards the mid part of the week, and then into this late weekend to the July 4th weekend, it could get pretty cool for the most part of the country into the upper plains, the Great Lakes, even the south, and it could also stay a bit rainier. So that's the update. Again, stay safe, stay tuned. I'll keep you guys updated, and if you live across the southwest, don't get caught off guard with these showers. It hasn't happened in a while. That's why there's such a big drought. But again, look at the heavy rain. If a few of these occur over a single area, this could definitely cause flash flooding, especially when there is a higher elevation and terrain, which it's across New Mexico. It's like a perfect scenario for those flash flood watches. You can see slow moving showers and thunderstorms with heavy rain will be possible, and that definitely will be good for the drought, but there could be some bad effects with that as well. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all on the next episode. See ya. Bye.